Welcome back to the Impact Driven Entrepreneur Show. Today we are on another episode of the series on Glossary of Terms. And today we are tackling what is psychology of sales. So in this video, we're going to break down what psychology of sales means and how you can use it to be more effective in your lead generation and sales processes to increase your income. So what does psychology of sales mean? Psychology of sales can be defined as the process that studies the psyche of your target market that you sell to. And what we do with that is instead of having to convince, instead of having to manipulate or any of that in the sales process, you are actually talking to and inspiring them based on the current needs and wants that they already have. Okay. And it is absolutely brilliant because as impact-driven entrepreneurs, it means you do not have to be pushy. You do not have to be sleazy. You do not have to convince anyone to buy your stuff. Instead, you can use psychology in your sales process. And we like to call it neuroscience as well, because the things that I teach include psychology and neuroscience. But basically what you do is you start to just use the inherent motivation they already have inside of them to meet their needs, AKA help them. So as getting to help people, instead of having to sell, instead of having to convince, instead of having to do anything that feels off for you. And that is what being an impact-driven entrepreneur is all about. So what are some of the big picture things that you might need to dive into before you really understand how to apply psychology and sales into your business, into your sales processes? Before I get into that, let me take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Mariana, and I help coaches to make multiple six figures online, working 3 days a week, using our signature framework, the Profitable Impact Formula. And we coach you on leadership, systems, and neuroscience to create more effective lead generation and sales so that you can get them faster and easier and more efficiently. So now let's answer the question, what are some of the big picture things that you might need to dive into in order to properly understand the psychology of sales? Number one, you're going to want to understand your ideal client. So I'm going to break down the demographics, and then I'm going to break down the psychographics so that you understand the difference as well as the depth that you are going to want to get into with the people that you are trying to understand in your target market. So for demographics, we're talking about things like age, gender, maybe race, marital status, number of children, occupation, annual income, and education level, right? That's stuff that you can pretty much find on a very surface level looking at someone's Facebook profile, okay? But what about deeper? These are the psychographics. These are things like their personalities. Personality describes a collection of traits that someone consistently exhibits over time, okay? And there's many different tools that you can utilize to assess personality and understand personality better. But when you do, you'll start to know at a deeper level who are the types of people you tend to attract, their lifestyle, right? What does their day-to-day life look like? Even if you are targeting moms, a lot of people think, oh, I'm targeting moms, so it's all the same. No, there is a vast difference between the mom who is responsible for cooking, cleaning, tidying up the house and doing everything at home, and the mom who has a nanny. The nanny comes in, takes care of everything, and they go to work, right? Or has the daycare. That's a third mom. Okay, that's a whole other mom. Their kids are in daycare, they drop the kid off. That's a whole different lifestyle. Interests, right? So what are some of the common interests of the ideal clients that you're trying to go to? What are the opinions, attitudes, and beliefs, right? You may or may not have seen my post on social media. P.S. If you're not already following us, follow me at the Mariana C. Ruiz on Instagram. But you may or may not have seen our posts about, I believe this and this. I share those things. I share those things because our ideal clients have common beliefs that I do, values. What are the things that they hold dear and are important to them? Priority of initiatives. So that's things like, is being a mom a higher priority, or is making more money a higher priority? And where is that on the scale? Success factors, right? So what are some things that they've been successful at? What are some things that make them successful in the ways that they have been successful? And what are their perceived barriers? This is huge as you start to overcome objections and learn how to do that effectively in your marketing so it doesn't come up in the sales process later on. What are the things that they believe are holding them back from going to where they're trying to go to? And so this is much deeper, obviously, as you can see, than just the demographics. And this is just to name a few. So you can see that understanding these things is just the tip of the iceberg. And the next part of the psychology of sales is really speaking to them and doing so in a way that is appropriate based on where they are in their buying journey. This is critical. And so I want to reiterate the point. It is important that in your marketing, you are only speaking to your one ideal client. Don't think of them as the demographics, but instead think of them in their psychographics. Okay. And it is important to speak to them in a way that moves them down the buying journey, not necessarily having to close them on every single video or every single piece of content you ever put out there. That's not going to go over well. Instead, you are taking them to the next step in your buying journey, just one step. So in short, this is what we mean by the psychology of sales. That is a strategy that helps you to move people from stranger on the internet to lifelong brand promoter, one step at a time, by understanding that person in depth, where they are at every step in this process that you take them on personally in your business to take them from stranger on the internet to lifelong brand promoter. So if you found this video helpful, hit the subscribe button so that you can watch more videos like this to help you grow and scale your coaching or consulting business online. Have an amazing day, and I will chat with you in the next one.